You know those games of CSGO where whatever you do is wrong? Round after round you try different tactics but seem to die instantly, as though your opponents have a half-second head start in gunfights? This was one of those games, so I got my own recording and compared it with the source TV to see how they compared. The first thing I noticed was how similar they are. I was hoping for a clear-cut difference with these clips, but CSGO obviously employs lag compensation and time travel stuff to make it as fair as possible. I'll play the rest of the clips at 25% speed, matching up my character's movements between recordings. Now before I go any further, I have a confession to make. I'm from England, and this was most likely an American server. Despite all this, there were complaints all around about the server, even from the other team who were dominating us. The average rank on this server was about Silver Elite, though there was a Master Guardian Elite on the other team because matchmaking. As I go plummeting through the air towards this guy, the Master Guardian Elite, the difference is noticeable. The moment I die on my screen, I suddenly teleport up into the air again to where I actually was according to the server when I died. This reminds me of all those times where I reach cover only to die and to teleport out into the open area again. This is about as frustrating as it gets, apart from those AWP shots that obviously hit but somehow don't. I can understand if you're disappointed with my findings. It looks as though, even with the server and lag I was experiencing, the difference is still only in the last 2 shots you fire off with an automatic weapon. With a ping of 100, about 1/10 of a second, this seems to make sense. It still means that, all other things being equal, you're 2 shots behind in a firefight, which is definitely enough to make a difference. Now this is an interesting one. I was off to the side, admittedly, but if things were where they were on my screen, I may still have stood a chance against the second person. On my screen I'm still getting a couple of hits on him, while on the source TV recording I'm missing by a mile. Let me sync this up with the gunshots. There are definitely some differences between these. Here are stills of the moment the bullet fires. In the first shot my bullet could have hit both of them, but according to source TV, I was closer to hitting the person in the distance. On my screen I was hitting the person in front, but source TV shows it actually hitting the man behind. The third shot is acceptable. Both clips seem to show a headshot of some kind here, and the ragdoll has replaced the model in the source TV view. With the fifth, the death has been confirmed on source TV. Oh look, the sixth shows a beautiful headshot on my screen as opposed to a total miss on the other one. With the 7th shot, the first kill is finally confirmed on my screen. Took 2 whole shots, the next 2 shots are misses, fair and square. As usual, I get the perfect headshot on the final shot, which doesn't even count since I'm already dead according to source TV view. It felt like that for most of the game. I know what 100 ping feels like, but this was a lot worse, and I can't help but think that it was the server that was at fault as well, but I have no proof of that. So how does this one look in slow motion? This is with my character's movements lined up, which seem to operate in a different reality to the gunshots. Now again, but with lined up gunshots. Now that looked fine to me. Whatever lag compensation was in place there seemed to work quite well. Let's view another shot later on, with gunshots lined up once more. Now in this case, source TV shows me as having better reflexes than my screen does. I guess the real problem with lag compensation is that the ping isn't constant. Fluctuations with a connection will cause it to always over or undercompensate to some degree, which is even worse than, say, always being slightly behind the action, since you can never compensate for random delay. I was hoping to find an example where I could line up one gunshot timing perfectly and for it not to coincide with the next shot to show that there are random amounts of delay, but I couldn't find an example in this match. While we're on the limitations of the source TV versus the actual gameplay, take a look at this. Who knows how many people have looked suspicious in source TV through no fault of their own? In my opinion, if you're having a proper match, you must still record your own demo, since you can't rely on source TV to always show you in the best possible light. Your own recording should at least give you some more protection should people suspect you of cheating. And that concludes this video. I don't quite know what I set out to achieve, and I understand that having lag doesn't exactly give my findings the most weight. The moral of this story is to stick to servers with the lowest ping possible. But even in this worst case scenario, remember that other people on my team, and perhaps even the enemies I was facing, were suffering from the same problems. Does this balance it out? Does this mean that I just happened to suck massively for this entire game when the games played either side were okay? Who knows? Annoyingly, I don't know if I'll ever be able to test that. Several people in this match reported this server, and we can only hope that problems like this become less frequent. For everybody's sake.